The Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation. Amendment ACT, 2016 No. 35 of 2016. The 29th of July 2016. An act further to amend the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act, 1986. Be it enacted by Parliament in the 67th year of the Republic of India as follows. 1. This Act may be called the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Act, 2016. 2. It shall come into force on such date as the central government may, by notification in the Official Gazette, appoint. 2. In the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act, 1986, hereinafter referred to as the Principal Act for the long title, the following shall be substituted, namely, an act to prohibit the engagement of children in all occupations and to prohibit the engagement of adolescents in hazardous occupations and processes and the matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Short title and commencement. Amendment of long title. 61 of 1986. Jafter Landman, Yum U04 at 0007 at 2003, 16. VLKKKJ. K Extraordinary HKKX2K. M1 Part 2, Section 1 IZKFKDKJLSZDKFK published by authority. LAN 42 UBZFNYYHKFUOT cubes 30 26 K8 1009 42 New Delhi BLHKKXSRFHKU KNHTKR GVYX LAD Ministry of Law and Justice Legislative Department. New Delhi, the 30th of July 2016, Shravana 8, 1938 Saka. The following Act of Parliament received the assent of the President on the 29th of July 2016 and is hereby published for general information. Registered No. DLNO43. In Section 1 of the Principal Act, in subsection 1, for the words, brackets and figures, the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act, 1986, the words, brackets and figures, the Child and Adolescent Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act, 1986, shall be substituted. 4. In Section 2 of the Principal Act, A Clause I shall be renumbered as Clause A thereof and before Clause A as so renumbered, the following clause shall be inserted, namely, I adolescent means a person who has completed his 14th year of age but has not completed his 18th year. B. For Clause E, the following clause shall be substituted, namely, E. Child means a person who has not completed his 14th year of age or such age as may be specified in the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act, 2009, whichever is more. 5. For Section 3 of the Principal Act, the following section shall be substituted, namely, 3. 1. No child shall be employed or permitted to work in any occupation or process. 2. Nothing in subsection 1 shall apply where the child A. helps his family or family enterprise, which is other than any hazardous occupations or processes set forth in the schedule, after his school hours or during vacations. B. Works as an artist in an audiovisual entertainment industry, including advertisement, films, television serials or any such other entertainment or sports activities except the circus, subject to such conditions and safety measures as may be prescribed. Provided that no such work under this clause shall affect the school education of the child. Explanation. For the purposes of this section, the expression A family, in relation to a child, means his mother, father, brother, sister and father's sister and brother and mother's sister and brother. B. Family enterprise, means any work, profession, manufacture or business which is performed by the members of the family with the engagement of other persons. C. Artist, means a child who performs or practices any work as a hobby or profession directly involving him as an actor, singer, sportsperson or in such other activity as may be prescribed relating to the entertainment or sports activities falling under Clause B of subsection 2. 6. After Section 3 of the Principal Act, the following section shall be inserted, namely, 3a. No adolescent shall be employed or permitted to work in any of the hazardous occupations or processes set forth in the schedule. Provided that the central government may, by notification, specify the nature of the non-hazardous work to which an adolescent may be permitted to work under this Act. Amendment of Short Title. Amendment of Section 2. Substitution of new section for Section 3. Prohibition of employment of children in any occupation and Process. Insertion of new Section 3A. Prohibition of employment of adolescents in certain hazardous occupations and processes. 61 of 1986. 35 of 2009. SEC. 1. The Gazette of India Extraordinary 3. 7. In Section 4 of the Principal Act, for the words, add any occupation or process to the schedule, the words, add to, or, omit from, the schedule any hazardous occupation or process, shall be substituted. 8. In Section 5 of the Principal Act, I. In the marginal heading, for the words, Child Labour Technical Advisory Committee, the words Technical Advisory Committee, shall be substituted. E. In subsection 1, for the words, Child Labour Technical Advisory Committee, the words Technical Advisory Committee, shall be substituted. 9. In the heading of Part 3 of the Principal Act, for children, substitute adolescents. 10. In Section 6 of the Principal Act, for the word and figure, Section 3 inches, the word, figure and letter, Section 3A, shall be substituted. 11. In Section 7 of the Principal Act, for the word, child wherever it occurs, the word adolescent, shall be substituted. 12. In Section 8 of the Principal Act, for the word, child, the word, adolescent, shall be substituted. 13. In Section 9 of the Principal Act, for the word, child, at both the places, where it occurs, the word adolescent, shall be substituted. 14. In Section 10 of the Principal Act, for the word, child, at both the places, where it occurs, the word adolescent, shall be substituted. 15. In Section 11 of the Principal Act, 8 for the word, children, the word, adolescent, shall be substituted. B. For the word, child, wherever it occurs the word, adolescent, shall be substituted. 16. In Section 12 of the Principal Act, A. In the marginal heading, for the words and figures, Sections 3 and 14 inches the words, figures and letter, Sections 3A and 14 inches shall be substituted. B. For the words and figures, Sections 3 and 14, the words, figures and letter, Sections 3A and 14 inches shall be substituted. 17. In Section 13 of the Principal Act, for the word, children, wherever it occurs, the word adolescent, shall be substituted. 18. In Section 14 of the Principal Act, 8 for subsection 1, the following subsections shall be substituted, namely, 1. Whoever employs any child or permits any child to work in contravention of the provisions of Section 3 shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 6 months but which may extend to 2 years, or with fine which shall not be less than 20,000 rupees but which may extend to 50,000 rupees, or with both. Provided that the parents or guardians of such children shall not be punished unless they permit such child for commercial purposes in contravention of the provisions of Section 3. I.e. Whoever employs any adolescent or permits any adolescent to work in contravention of the provisions of Section 3A shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 6 months but which may extend to 2 years, or with fine which shall not be less than 20,000 rupees but which may extend to 50,000 rupees, or with both. Amendment of Section 4. Amendment of Section 5. Amendment of Part 3. Amendment of Section 6. Amendment of Section 7. Amendment of Section 8. Amendment of Section 9. Amendment of Section 10. Amendment of Section 11. Amendment of Section 12. Amendment of Section 13. Amendment of Section 14. 4. The Gazette of India Extraordinary Part 2. Provided that the parents or guardians of such adolescent shall not be punished unless they permit such adolescent to work in contravention of the provisions of Section 3A. 1b. Notwithstanding anything contained in subsections 1 and 1a, the parents or guardians of any child or adolescent referred to in Section 3 or Section 3a, shall not be liable for punishment, in case of the first offense. b. For subsection 2, the following subsections shall be substituted. Namely, 2. Whoever, having been convicted of an offence under Section 3 or Section 3a commits a like offence afterwards, he shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 1 year but which may extend to 3 years. 2a. Notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 2, the parents or guardian having been convicted of an offence under Section 3 or Section 3a, commits a like offence afterwards, he shall be punishable with a fine which may extend to 10,000 rupees. C. Clauses A, B, and C of subsection 3 shall be omitted. 19. After Section 14 of the Principal Act, the following sections shall be inserted, namely 14A. Notwithstanding anything contained in the Code of Criminal Procedure, 1973, any offense committed by an employer and punishable under Section 3 or Section 3A shall be cognizable. 14B. 1. The appropriate government shall constitute a fund in every district or for 2 or more districts to be called the Child and Adolescent Labor Rehabilitation Fund, to which the amount of the fine realized from the employer of the child and adolescent, within the jurisdiction of such district or districts, shall be credited. 2. The appropriate government shall credit an amount of 15,000 rupees to the fund for each child or adolescent for whom the fine amount has been credited under subsection 1. 3. The amount credited to the fund under subsections 1 and 2 shall be deposited in such banks or invested in such manner as the appropriate government may decide. 4. The amount deposited or invested, as the case may be under subsection 3, and the interest accrued on it, shall be paid to the child or adolescent in whose favor such amount is credited, in such manner as may be prescribed. Explanation. For the purposes of appropriate government, the central government shall include the administrator or the lieutenant governor of a union territory under Article 239A of the Constitution. 14C. The child or adolescent, who is employed in contravention of the provisions of this Act and rescued, shall be rehabilitated in accordance with the laws for the time being in force. 14D. 1. Notwithstanding anything contained in the Code of Criminal Procedure, 1973, the district magistrate may, on the application of the accused person, compound any offense committed for the first time by him, under subsection 3 of section 14, or any offense committed by an accused person being parent or a guardian, in such manner and on payment of such amount to the appropriate government, as may be prescribed. Insertion of new sections 14A, 14B, 14C and 14D. Child and Adolescent Labor Rehabilitation Fund. Rehabilitation of rescued child or adolescent. Compounding of offences. 2 of 1974. 2 of 1974. Offences to be cognizable. SEC. 1. The Gazette of India Extraordinary 5. 2. If the accused fails to pay such amount for composition of the offence, then, the proceedings shall be continued against such person in accordance with the provisions of this Act. 3. Where any offence is compounded before the institution of any prosecution, no prosecution shall be instituted in relation to such offence, against the offender in relation to whom the offence is so compounded. 4. Where the composition of any offence is made after the institution of any prosecution, such composition shall be brought in writing, to the notice of the court in which the prosecution is pending, and on the approval of the composition of the offence being given, the person against whom the offence is so compounded, shall be discharged. 20. After Section 17, the following sections shall be inserted, namely 17A. The appropriate government may confer such powers and impose such duties on a district magistrate as may be necessary, to ensure that the provisions of this Act are properly carried out, and the district magistrate may specify the officer, subordinate to him, who shall exercise all or any of the powers, and perform all or any of the duties, so conferred or imposed, and the local limits within which such powers or duties shall be carried out by the officer as may be prescribed. 17B. The appropriate government shall make or cause to be made periodic inspection of the places at which the employment of children is prohibited and hazardous occupations or processes are carried out at such intervals as it thinks fit, and monitor the issues relating to the provisions of this Act. 21. In Section 18 of the Principal Act, in subsection 2, I. Clause A shall be related as Clause B thereof, and before Clause B, as so related, the following clause shall be inserted, namely A. The conditions and the safety measures under Clause B of subsection 2, and other activities under Clause B to explanation of subsection 2 of Section 3. E. In Clause B as so related, for the words, Child Labor Technical Advisory Committee, the words Technical Advisory Committee shall be substituted. E. Clauses B, C, and D shall be related as clauses C, D, and A thereof, and in Clause C as so related, for the word, child, the word, adolescent shall be substituted. IV. After Clause A as so related, the following clauses shall be inserted, namely F. The manner of payment of amount to the child or adolescent under subsection 4 of section 14b. G. The manner of composition of the offence and payment of amount to the appropriate government under subsection 1 of section 14d. H. The powers to be exercised and the duties to be performed by the officer specified and the local limits within which such powers or duties shall be carried out under section 17a. Insertion of new sections 17a and 17b. District Magistrate to implement the provisions. Inspection and monitoring. Amendment of Section 18(22). In the Principal Act, for the schedule, the following schedule shall be substituted, namely, the schedule. See Section 3A. 1. Mines. 2. Inflammable substances or explosives. 3. Hazardous process. Explanation. For the purposes of this schedule, hazardous process has the meaning assigned to it in Clause CB of the Factories Act, 1948. 63 of 1948. Substitution of new schedule for the schedule. Dr. G. Narayana Raju, Secretary to the Gov. of India. GMGIPMRND 2030 GIS 3.